what they deserve. Yeah.
This one is hard, man.
Politics. Gachagua rattles his opposition allies with Nairobi zoning plan. A fresh storm has hit the united opposition after former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua unveiled a zoning plan that would bar affiliate parties from fielding candidates for governor, MP and MCA positions in Nairobi. Alisema kuna viti that are meant for DCP. Others have agreed to leave it out for them. But now it seems like there is problem within the united. So that unity
it's not so unified.
It's not so unified.
All right.
Iko shida. Breathalyzers, speed guns to help cut festive season crashes. Kenya transport sector is bracing for one of its busiest travel periods, with matatu operators and safety agencies warning of rising cases of reckless driving, of rising cases, fatigue, mechanical neglect and general indiscipline on major highways. Yesterday, NTSA said it is back with a bang.
All right.
To ensure that accidents on the roads are not witnessed. One would ask, what happens during the 11 months?
Yeah, okay. When they say they're back, they're going to put the vehicles back on the road?
So it's just to ensure that more, what do you call it, more checkups.
Oh, okay.
Just so to ensure that people are not speeding, people are not overworked, you're not going for 10 trips before you sleep. That when you're driving long distance, you have someone else to help you drive coming back. But one would have hoped that is what you should have started in January all the way to December. So by the time it's December, it is in people's system. You know what you ought to do. But
you're asking a lot of people this morning.
But it's
Who would I
okay.
imagine that somebody would think like that? But then, okay.
Because throughout the 11 months, people have been driving.
Yeah.
And they've been ferrying people, right? We've also been seeing accidents on the rise, especially during other festivities like Easter, Jamhuri, Madaraka. We've seen these things happen. Anyway, funding cuts, rising infections, fragile HIV gains at risk. So, we have that story on HIV cases in the country and how numbers continue to go up. Speed guns, breathalyzers on roads in a bid to curb crashes. Now, 5 police reservists, civilians killed by bandits in Meru and Isiolo. President over the weekend said he's out here to ensure that banditry becomes a thing of the past. Misawa. Study reveals why learners in public schools lag behind. Teachers start receiving their medical services under SHA cover. It's a conversation you shall be having today. Were teachers involved? Who came up with the decision? Are they happy? But another question that teachers are asking, why don't we just have the entire civil service in SHA? When you enter civil service in Kinanani, including members of parliament, the president, the executive, that way everyone is equal.
True.
Galia Star.
All right. On the Star, it's interesting because there's a story under the main headline there. Inside the battles facing Governor Wanga. She's facing battles. All right. Okay. Hurdles ahead. Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, during campaigns for Kasipo parliamentary seat by-election, there she was campaigning really hard for Boyd Were. And so apparently this headline is telling us that there could be some internal struggles here and there, maneno. 2 top court judges to retire as 2027 looms. It is almost guaranteed, well, it's happened in the last 3 elections, that an appeal will be taken to the Supreme Court over the election results. And from if this by-elections that we saw last week is something to go by, then you actually need all of these things in place. The exit of Supreme Court judges Ibrahim, Mohammed Ibrahim and DCJ Mwilu, they're retiring. And this means obviously the questions of succession have now been activated. Who's going to come in and take over as Supreme Court judges? Remember that the Supreme Court is a bench of 7 judges. So those must be replaced, of course, with the head of that being the Chief Justice.
There's a quote that has been given by one Super Churchill. There is a possibility of influencing the appointments. This is considering the members of the Judicial Service Commission who vet nominees to the Apex Court are appointed by the executive.
Yeah. So let's see. It's going to be interesting and see how that will come through. The Court of Appeal also is to rule in March if abortion is a human right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a right to get rid of a life growing inside of you? At the end of the day, who's the host? The host is you, but then also that life is... it's going to get sticky, but we're going to hear from the Court of Appeal because many a case has been taken to the court. Unbelievable. Kenya produces first evidence of hyena eating honey in Kajiado.
Yo.
I'm telling you.
Can imagine.
A hyena. Mwenye anafaa kula nyama.
Anakula asali.
Analamba asali.
Asali ntamu.
Sindio? So why can't hyenas eat honey? I'm still talking about the actual animal, hyena. So where usiende mbali? Rebellion as northern MPs accuse Ruto of neglect over roads. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Wait.
No.
Ile barabara kwenda Kutulo.
Ile
hapo Bagamoyo. Haikufika?
Hakuna nini? Hakuna gari ya kupeleka mawe. Yeah, so they're saying, you know what? Come on, guy. You've not talked to us about our roads. This should actually be sorted out. So now they're starting to... There's a bit of a jitter in that part of the country, and they're saying, no, something must be done about that. Omuse, preacher with a passion for shaving. He shaves people during the week, preaches on Sunday.
Nice
story. A nice one, obviously. Unpaid 524.8 billion shilling pending bill is crippling the economy. The controller of budget is saying, guys, I want to die. Huh? Can we pay? Because right now, if you have a dent of 500 billion shillings that you owe to people, it's going to do a little something to the economy. And she's actually speaking and saying, we need to do something about that.
I can imagine if that money was just circulating in the economy, what that would have meant.
Put 500 billion shillings in the economy today. It will move something. That's for sure. It will definitely move something. Put it in and, break it up into pieces and put it into the hands of people that you actually owe. People are then able to do many things at the same time.
Even while at it, remember, these people that you've not paid, people who supplied to you, first of all, many are being auctioned because many went for financing. But beyond that, we're talking about families that are breaking simply because they're unable to take care of themselves. So people are poorer today simply because the government has decided not to pay for job done.
True. And you can. Yeah. You can pay. You just choose not to. That's the thing that annoys me. You can pay.
You can pay.
EVE, you can pay, but you choose not to. See, this is the problem across the board. It's a problem. The government sets aside 1.4 billion shillings to end decades of darkness in Kisumu's remote villages. All right.
Okay.
Kisumu County has remote villages, as I'm sure other counties in the country do. But the government now has set aside 1.4 billion shillings to take care of that. Rural electrification will reach the last door. Essentially, last mile is what we're talking about. So quite a number of things happening here. 500 billion shillings has been disbursed to revamp Embu's irrigation sector. So there's many things happening, and this is some of the stories that we're looking at. You want to know how exactly folks are finding their way to Russia to do this work, which unfortunately is ending in problems. A quick look at the Business Daily. Employees earning above 50,000 shillings are going to have an increase to 1.5 million of something. It's not your salary. Companies and public entities creating additional 206,000 jobs for workers earning salaries between 50 to 100,000 over 5 years, 2014, marking the pay band with the most new employees. Okay, so that's interesting. Electrocutions hit a record 122 amid increased power theft. Well, what do you expect? You're going to climb a pole to steal a power line? You will get shocked. Literally.
Say you deserve it.
Come on, what are you doing at the pole? Get off the pole.
Yeah, get off the pole. You're there to steal mafuta. Mafuta transformer.
Good thing you're zapped.
What
nonsense.
You're trying to barbecue yourself? By all means necessary.
Should we add tomato sauce? My goodness.
What
are you doing there?
Here's the thing. What are you doing there?
Yeah.
Because by you destroying that transformer, many other Kenyans do not have power that they do need. Hospitals lack power.
And then you die.
By all means necessary. You get there, you get zapped, you die. You deserved it.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Family mourns a father lured into war that became a death sentence. At just 17, James Mutonga is transitioning to adulthood with pain and heartbreak no child should carry. He never imagined his father would leave home and return only as a memory. His father is gone, taken by war, thousands of miles away from home. Yet, that is the heartbreaking reality that he has to bear. A teenager who once relied on his father for guidance, providence, and protection will now have to learn to stand alone in a world that suddenly feels colder and unfamiliar. In the story in The Standard by Jacinta Mutura, the unfolding war in Russia and Ukraine felt distant, a conflict seen on television and heard in passing conversations. But for one family in a village in Ruaka, Kiambu County, the war hit home like a thunderbolt. It took away Martin Macharia Mburu, a 39-year-old man who had gone abroad hoping to give his children a better life, only to meet untimely death on the front line he never signed up for. Macharia had traveled to Russia after being promised a decent job as a driver and cleaner, an opportunity he believed would give his family a better life, only to be pushed into a battlefield that he knew nothing about. And now, in their quiet home in Ruaka, the emptiness and loss left behind is unmistakable. A voice is missing, and the heart of Mutonga's family is gone forever. Grace Gathoni, who is his widow, said, "I was shocked to see my husband in full military uniform, carrying a gun. He knew nothing about the military." So there are many things going on here. One, people are going thinking they're getting jobs that is better than what they have here. Then number two, their families also believe this, but then they're shocked to see pictures that they send later or that that appear later. And then number three, the people who are taking these individuals to these other countries are lying to them and telling them that they're going to have a job as a driver or as a cleaner or as a housekeeper, but they're putting them in the front line.
Or a doorman, security guy.
But I wonder if you can say no. If you get there and you realize this is actually military war that I'm fighting, can you say, no, I'd rather go back to Kenya? Or are you forced? What exactly is the backstory here?
Yeah, that's the part that is missing. You know.
Because do they shackle you and then put the military fatigues on you and say, go fight?
I mean, even by the time, I'm assuming before someone is actually given the military regalia and guns, someone goes through training. When you're going through training, are you unable to say no?
After 3 days in Russia, Macharia called his wife to alert her that they had been duped and that they were signing up a different contract for a military job. I asked why he agreed to sign if he didn't understand. And he said that they were forced to sign in a hurry and forced to open bank accounts by Russians. They did not know the details of the contract that bound them to do any work assigned to them. So you signed a contract, you didn't know that what you were going to do. And so they come back at you and say, well, bro, you signed, man. A few days later, Macharia, Kimemia, and a Nigerian national who was lured into the same trap were taken for 3 days training and were barred from contacting anyone. He later went for 2 weeks without communication. They were given back their phones after the training, and he kept urging me to do whatever I could to help him come home. But he regretted going there. That's what he said. This is what his wife said. He would send us photos of the caves and bush where they were training. I was shocked to see my husband in full military uniform carrying a gun. He knew nothing about the military. He ended up in a military camp and was later sent to the front lines of the Russia-Ukraine war. Despite having no military background or understanding the conflict, his wife last spoke to him on the 18th of November. She only learned of his death through news reports, marking the first public case of a Kenyan killed in the war. I don't know where to start. He has left me with 4 children. I don't know how I will take care of them in his absence. Calls to the recruiting agent helped Mr. Macharia return proved futile. The agent said he had contacted the embassy and was waiting for a response. You see? But when the agent was telling you to come and go and work, you paid money, you did everything. They were very helpful. They even escorted you to the airport.
Even helped you apply for visa.
Yeah. But now, I just want that you're going to call and ask. Yeah, there are many, many stories going on at the same time here, you know, in terms of the agencies and duping and things that we've been shouting about in terms of labor. So many people have many questions to answer. Ministry of Labor, MOFA, and the MOFA and the Prime Cabinet Secretary, these agencies, of course, now is questions between Moscow and Nairobi in terms of what is going on. But this...
I mean, the recruitment agency, is it underneath her?
It depends.
It depends, yeah.
Usually, or from our understanding, NITA is the regulatory body for all agencies that are going to offer work abroad. So NITA should have an idea.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, if you travel outside, right? When you get this visa, so there's the visa that says what you're going to do there.
Yes.
And there's an entire documentation on how you go about it.
Right.
So here's the question now. The MOFA, Minister of Foreign Affairs, can it go further to the embassy and find out what kind of visas these individuals got?
That's their job.
That's your job as MOFA.
Yeah.
Then you extrapolate that with the Kenyan embassy in Russia to find out the individuals from Kenya who came to this country, where are they? Because this is the visa they got, these are the contracts they got. Are they actually doing that contract that they signed back in Kenya?
Yeah. If they say they had no, in fact, I think it would be incredibly ridiculous of them to say that they had no idea that this was happening. They should actually not comment on whether they knew or not. They should comment on what they're trying to do to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And beyond that, they're having conversations. And of course, we're hearing about Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans, all sorts of who on the continent is having conversations with Moscow in terms of why this is being allowed to happen. Yeah. It's your war. Why are you incorporating the rest of us into it?
And I think by now MOFA should have told us, like, so far we've gathered information. These are the number of Kenyans who've traveled to Russia between this certain period of time. We are in contact with them, and those that you're not in contact with, you're doing everything to ensure that they are repatriated back home. That is a statement we're waiting for from Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi.
My hope is that he will not take on the stance that he has in the last couple of weeks, where he's just remained mum as a... Okay, I'll just stick with mum.
Okay.
That he's not said anything.
Yeah.
You can't keep quiet forever.
Yeah.
At some point, you need to open your mouth and tell us what you're doing.
Remember, at the end of the day, all these offices that people occupy in this office, they are meant for you to serve the people of Kenya. You are there as Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. You are there to serve the interest of Kenyans first. Capish?
It's a capish for me, but seems like it's not capish for everybody.
Not capishing.
Not capish, man.
Aye.
Because why are you silent? The silence for me, I think there are too many things about silence today that are just ringing in my head.
Yeah.
The silence for me, it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It will not a method. It is not a method for getting anything done.
Yeah. You see, silence means one thing. Okay. I don't care. I don't give a hoot what is happening, But at the end of the day, silence is a form of communication. And in one way or the other, you will have to still communicate away from the silence. So you might as well just communicate today and have the people who deserve these answers get the answers.
Sure.
Yes. Even if it's heartbreaking, you have still communicated.
Absolutely. And I think that also people, look, in the last few seconds before we get to the top of the hour, we know, all of us know people who are trying to get these jobs abroad. Please, for the love of God and all good things, be very careful when you're applying for these jobs, even if they do the due diligence. Do not allow desperation end you in a box.
We will sit here, we will say the Cabinet Secretary needs to work, that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs needs to work. But take care of yourself first. If it means you going to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to find out and asking, please do
it. Please. Yes. Too many people are dying. Too many people are getting caught in this dragnet. And now look at it. You're going to fight a war that, number one, is not yours. Number two, you're not trained for. And number three, you had no idea anything about even before that. Come on, guys. Yes, absolutely, Dennis. Yeah. That there are folks in place who have to do a job. But at the end of the day, please do it for yourself as well. Do it for yourself. Those are conversations.
Depende.
Kabisa. We'll talk about more as we get into it. Good morning at 7 a.m.
The latest news from... This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.